Alright, we're rolling. Hello, this is John Baisley from Baroness, and you are watching or listening to LINEA ROCK.
Hi John.
Hi.
Welcome to Milano, welcome to LINEA ROCK.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Good. So you're ready to play tonight at Fabrique, and we're looking forward to it. Actually, Baroness are one of those bands so very well respected. Everyone agrees, on your high musical value and very interesting, sound and style. Is that a pro or a con in the long term for you guys?
I don't know how that could be a con. I think it's a pro. I mean, it means we have to play very well every night. No, I mean, I've been playing in this band for nearly 20 years now, and one of my goals, even from the first year, before I ever thought that we could be successful, or that we'd last, or that we'd put out more than one record, I always had the idea in mind that the integrity of the music that we make was something for which I would offer no compromise.
Yeah.
Because I feel very passionately about what we do. To a fault sometimes. I know it wears people thin on occasion, but the idea that through this band and through this music that we can have a full human experience, and that we can grow and evolve and adapt and make ourselves better, both as musicians and songwriters, but also as kind human beings who, on a nightly basis offer our music to an open audience. And I mean that we choose to see the fact that we play music the way that we do as an open-armed experience that everybody can be part of. We want to include people and never put them away.
Yeah.
And that's been the arc of this process has taken a very long time, and it's left us, I guess, like you say, we have a good reputation for this, that, and the other thing. It means that as we get older, we have to become more and more vigilant, because there's always a devil on the other side of the door.
Yeah.
And that door gets closer and closer to us. So for me, it's important that we, as we grow and as we enter new strata of this business, that we adapt to that in a way that it suits our integrity, suits our morals and our ethics and our creative goals, which are first and foremost.
As you mentioned, this is mainly your band. You've been, you founded it. You've been here since the early days, since day one. What kind of leader are you? And do you think that democracy pays off in the long run, or in the band there has to be a leader, a driver, with very clear ideas in mind?
Well, let me preface by saying that while I recognize that I have certainly been in this band a lot longer than all other members, that I do have a very clear vision for what we do. But the foundation of that vision requires a collaborative effort. It requires a certain type of democracy, because I can't see the type of vision that I have, the type of ideals and goals that I have for this band aren't possible unless 4 people operate at 100%, and that unless I need we need a full input that works in all directions at all times.
Okay.
And I think that is the type of leadership that I've chosen, and I think that has made us what we are. But it requires, similarly, that each of the other 3 members are willing to put in work and understand that each of their characters as a musician it needs to shine through. I can't be a dictator. I can't say do this, do that, and do the other thing.
Right.
Or if I do, it has. When I'm saying it, I'm saying you have to do your thing, you have to do your thing, and you have to do your thing. I can't. Nobody. We can't. We can't pretend to be musicians that we're not. Otherwise, our music will suffer. It will become stale and boring and routine. What's necessary and what keeps us moving forward is the fact that we're never satisfied. Our internal creative mechanism holds everybody accountable and continually pushes the bar further and further up.
So you changed a lot of members through the years.
I didn't change any members.
Okay.
Those members left. Everybody left on their own accord. I've never kicked anybody.
So there was a natural progression in a sense.
I wouldn't want anybody in this band that didn't want to be in it.
Nobody was ever kicked out.
No, and I don't want to force anybody to be in this band because it's hard. Because this band is hard to be in. It's a very difficult band to be in.
Okay.
So yeah, I like everybody that is in the band. Everybody that's on this and on our crew cares for what they do. I wouldn't have it any other way.
And now there's a girl in the band, Gina, on lead guitar.
She is a female.
But yes, okay. Did that bring, extra balance in a sense, or extra turmoil in the band?
If anything, it brought balance. And I want to be clear that I don't think it's because Gina's a female. I actually think it's because Gina has a wonderful personality and she's got an incredibly high skill set when it comes to music. And from my perspective, it's humbling and inspiring to play music with three musicians who are better than I am at playing music. It's through my cooperation with them and through our mutual participation that I've become a better singer, become a better vocalist, and a better guitar player and a better songwriter.
And also a better leader, because if you have people that collaborate with you, of course.
I've never ever for 1 second have considered that anybody works for me. This is a band where we work with one another. Yeah. I just happen to have some control over the initial those initial things. And maybe the one thing that I contribute is I do have a sensibility and a songwriting style that exists. But again, if it was a solo record, it might sound like me, but it wouldn't sound like Baroness.
Okay. After 5 chromatically themed albums, painting your music with different colors, you stated that Gold and Gray closes that era with actually 2 G colors, which are very different, very opposite to each other. Why now, and what will be next? How will the visuals keep on form an integral part of your musical language?
Well, as far as ending the cycle, it was based on a very simple idea, which is that as an artist, my whole life I've been aware of the color wheel, we call it, and in layman's terms, it's kind of a rainbow. It's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet or purple. Okay. So we did red, blue, yellow, green, purple, and then we're left with orange. And it's not very simply put, it's the way that the semantically the way that orange sounds, it's just it doesn't have anything for me. So, and I like to break people's expectations.
Sure.
Well, we did need an orange record, so this is it. But gold is more poetic, I think.
Okay.
And because the record felt like it was created in the same spirit as Yellow and Green, with a very open-minded approach, I wanted to offer some hint at the fact that there was a balance between precious and worthless, between light and dark, between brilliant and boring. Although I don't think there's really any boring moments on the record. It's just to say that no matter what, there is ultimately a balance that happens on records, and especially on a record like this, which was extremely difficult to balance because it's a pretty wild recording. Now, as far as ending that cycle, I mean that whatever we do next is open to us. It could be pink, it could be black, it could be white, but it could also be oak or chestnut or spaghetti or bolognese. It doesn't matter. It can be anything.
Okay.
most important thing is that we have a blank canvas, and it's whatever we want it to be from here on out. We have there's nothing that boxes us in or puts us in a corner. We have, I don't know what it will be, you know? It'll be something different. And from a visual standpoint, I don't know how flexible what I do is. It may come out looking the same, but there'll be something fundamentally different about it because we're into a new territory now.
Will you take some time off this time or no? So after the tour...
We always take time off. All our records have like 2 or 3 years in between.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Okay, not anymore. So it's going to be very short.
I hope so. Yeah, well.
Okay. The Blue record is one of the favorite, you know, for everybody, for the fans, the media, and also has been, you know, defined, named the 20 greatest album in history by LA Weekly. Do you actually consider...
The 20 greatest what?
Album in history.
Sure.
Sure.
Whatever.
So, do you actually consider that, you know, as the milestone for Baroness up to now, or actually do you have a different favorite color from this first cycle?
I think the most recent record we've done is the best record we've done by a considerable margin. But I won't release a record unless I think it's better than the last one, you know?
Okay.
For me, they're not separate albums, they're part of a continuum.
Sure.
And each stage in this continuum requires that we do something better, that we turn ourselves into better songwriters, we think more with a more open mind, that we speak more genuinely. I think, you know, if I listen back, I can hear myself open up as a musician. I can hear my flexibility as a songwriter broadening and strengthening. But I'm not going to deny to some people that Blue may be your favorite, may be everybody's favorite. I actually think from what I get from our crowd, it's, you know, some people like Red and nothing after. Some people like Blue. A lot of people it's Purple because a lot of people discovered us with Purple. More often than not, honestly, it's Yellow and Green, which is I don't understand because I thought that was the one that would piss everybody off. That's the record that has the most songs in our set list that people love, you know.
Sure.
So I think Blue was a milestone though, because Red was we put out Red and it took everything we had to make that record. Blue, when we went in the studio, we only had music. We had no words whatsoever. So the words were all written the night before they were recorded. Every song. And I think we got really lucky. With Yellow and Green, we had it all mapped out. With Purple, we had it all scripted. We just went in and recorded things we demoed. Golden Gray is all improvised. So every record's different. And for me, my memory and my experience in making them is a direct reflection of the experience that I'm having outside of the music. So I hear each one. It's a very important piece of my life. But it's growth. You grow like this, you don't grow like this.
Sure.
Hopefully. You know?
You shared the stage with Metallica, Mastodon, Deftones, Fate No More, Meshuggah, and many other artists. Now it's Volbeat and Danko Jones here tonight and for the whole tour. You feel that your perfect dimension is like big tours, you know, with everything now approach and very big audiences, but maybe not quite your audience, or you prefer, you know, smaller situation like tonight, you know, that maybe have longer runs, or maybe there's the best of both worlds for a band like Baroness.
Well, I'll put it this way: when I was younger, before I knew I could play music, and it was just a hobby, and it was just making art for fun. I worked a variety of different jobs. You know, like as a musician, you normally end up in service industry, like serving food or pouring drinks or cleaning. You know,
which has been the worst job you've done?
I mean, the worst jobs that I had were all working on farms when I was a kid.
Oh wow, okay.
But they were the best jobs I had as well.
That was tough.
Because I got strong and I learned a lot about work ethic when I was young.
Okay.
They were difficult jobs.
Okay.
Like in the county that I grew up in, my mother was raising horses, and I grew up on a farm. So she does give me these jobs, baling hay is
Yeah, sure.
It's fucking horrible.
Okay.
Your arms turn into it's just horrible. But I dread every day that I did it, but it taught me a lot. So I don't know. Eventually, I got to the point where I just didn't want to work for anybody, and I didn't care to be told what to do, and I didn't care to go to the same place every day. And so for me, touring is best when the stage is different every night.
Okay.
I love playing big shows. I love playing intimate shows. I like playing acoustic. I like playing big and loud. What I appreciate about what we've been able to do, putting ourselves in front of such a variety of audiences, is it is different, and it's work. And it never allows us to settle and become complacent and routine. So, this tour is 3 legs, basically. The first leg was all theaters, and we played some of those beautiful theaters in Europe. This is like a big black box,
sure.
So maybe it's not like the most beautiful theater, but it looks like a big, nice club.
Yeah, it is.
And then we play 2 or 3 weeks of headlining shows, which will be smaller, more intimate things, and then it's all arenas and stadiums towards the end. That to me is exciting because it's changing all the time, and I don't have to go to the same job and do the same thing.
Okay.
That's the interesting thing.
Sure. Has touring become tougher after the crash, after the incident that you had a few years ago?
Riding.
Did you approach it differently? I mean, maybe as an instinction, because
I don't approach it very differently, but I'm also part crazy. I'm articulate and I can speak well, but I also make bad decisions all the time. I think the people around me are more aware of my physical reality now because of this. We certainly get better. We rent better coaches and buses than we used to.
Okay.
Okay, because you don't want to fall off a cliff twice.
Sure.
My physical reality is more painful than it has been, and it will always be like this. So it is just reality now. So I'm a little more cautious about my personal space, but that's it.
Okay.
Everything else is the same, because I'll put it this way: I was injured on going to work. I was injured on my way to work. In any other profession, that doesn't stop you from going to work again. It doesn't change the way you get to work. I'm just in a high-risk situation every day because I'm in a bus all the time on my way somewhere else. I just don't think that... I won't let that alter my enthusiasm and my passion for what I do. And the enthusiasm and energy that I approach it with has to be the same. If anything, it's made it more consistent. I love what I do, and I know that I love what I do because it almost was taken away from me. Everything was almost taken away from me. I came this close to death, and I didn't cross through. So all those beliefs that I had wondered about in my life up until that point were written in stone, and now this is what I do. I genuinely love it.
Okay, last question. You come from a punk metal scene with your early experiences. How do you think that the punk spirit and attitude, apparently so distant, for example, from the progressive metal discipline that you actually approach now, influenced your path with Baroness?
It was our path,
Okay.
It taught us the first thing is, when you come from the DIY scene, you learn how to play your music, you learn how to record your music, you learn how to print your shirts, you learn how to sell your merch, you learn how to book a tour, you learn how to drive on the tour, you learn how to tour manage, so you're a booking agent, you're a manager, you're your merch person, you learn everything, so that when you hire somebody, you understand their life, and you understand their world. And as we've grown, and our team has, out of necessity, become a bigger team, I know what to look for in the people that I work with.
Okay.
And I understand and I sympathize with their days in a more intimate way. So I'm never taking, I hope that I've never taken advantage of anybody unnecessarily. I hope that I've never stepped on anybody's back, or been disrespectful in any way, shape, or form of the energy that it takes our booking agent, our merch person, our tour manager, our front of house guy, our monitor guy, our lights guy, our roadies, the people who work in venues and load our gear into the stage every day, the people that are catering on this tour, you know, catering, whatever. All these hundreds of people behind the scenes that allow the four of us to get on stage and do and follow our passion in life. I have a deep level of respect for them because I've been where they've been at some point, and I've tried to understand the mentality of our audience, and I respect the amount of money that it takes to get into some of these shows.
Sure.
And I think that's the big lesson of DIY, is that if you've done something yourself, you understand the experience of doing it, and then when somebody does that for you, you have a greater level of, you have a deeper, more genuine level of gratitude and respect for those people. And that's front to back, the crowd to the crew. And so I think that in that way, I have understood each era of this band and the respect, you know, the level of gratitude and respect, the amount of work and the amount of energy that it takes. So the other thing that's funny to me is people are always like, oh, you know, you're playing like progressive technical metal stuff. I'm like, look, I'm working as hard as I can. It wasn't any easier when I played simpler music. It's fucking hard. I just have really great people working around me. So if you just listen to me, it's still it's still pretty rough. I don't want to call it punk because I worked. You know, I think that means like people understand that as being loose. I'm pretty loose. I just practice a lot. You know, if you played 2,000 shows, if you spent 100,000 hours doing what you love, you get good at it. That's it.
By the way, it's very humble of you, you know, because you're such a great musician, and because you have a complete vision of it. You know?
Well, it's like, but listen, like you remember the Beatles, like when they came out, it was like, oh my God, they're great. They had played 10,000 hours before they were the Beatles, before they were playing on stages like that. We've just done it throughout the history of our band. If you put this much time into anything, you get okay.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure. See you next time.
Absolutely.
Looking forward for the show. Did you compile already the set list for tonight's show? Or,
yeah.
Is it a fixed one, or you like to change?
I like to change it, but because we have no sound checks most days, and because everything's so rushed for us, we play a set list for 4 or 5 days, then change it 4 or 5 days because we want to get good at it.
Okay.
So it'll be the same as last night.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you. It was wonderful to meet you.
Thank you.